that you're shouting some advice to us Dragons as we're trying to make our minds up on the spot, and very often I wish we could pause and phone an accountant friend.
He's the youngest hacker in the world. He's 14 years of age and he comes from Tala.
And good evening, everybody. He wasn't standing on anything, I'm just not that tall.
That hope itself is not a strategy. And when I meet businesses, and I'm an entrepreneur who grew a business when the construction sector was increasing, I've seen it suffer. I've seen the sector devastated. I visit small businesses in every part of this country, and one of the things that I'm seeing is what's happening in this room. That small businesses are coming together to network. To network, why? Because they are so disconnected from what they read in the media, and yet they must face the challenges on a day-to-day basis.
Thanks. I was recently coming through Dublin Airport early on a Sunday morning, and as you come through security on the left-hand side, there is a Louis Copeland shop, and I happened to be looking through the shop, and out pops Louis. And I said, "What are you doing here on a Sunday morning? It's 8:30. You've better things to do." And he said, "Well, it's my business," he said. And it struck me that that's exactly the attitude that we need within our banking system. It's their business. Directors, senior bank managers need to be on the floor with their customers, knowing what business is all about, actually understanding how a business works as against some kind of spreadsheet conception that they may have been told about recently. And it's that Louis Copeland comment of getting on the shop floor, being where it matters, understanding the importance of local communities and trying to bring new business ideas forward. That's what we need to see. That is the fundamental change, in my view, in terms of the banking sector.
The first thing we see is, if you look at the next 10 years versus the last 10 years, we see a lot more change ahead. The global GDP growth is going to come increasingly more from kind of non-traditional OECD countries. That's what the majority of the opinions are. That forces changes in terms of businesses, in terms of people, in terms of skills, in terms of languages, in terms of the type of markets that we're all going to be selling into. We see the productivity imperative getting higher up on the agenda, certainly within Europe, with probably low growth rates in the kind of Western European economies for the next years. The productivity imperative is much higher. We see actually a massive opportunity in terms of what I would call the global grid. I mean, we're at the cusp of a once in every 25 year shift in technology. And I genuinely believe what you're going to see in terms of technology changes over the next 3 to 5 years is going to be so much more than we saw in the last 5 years.
Good news. Very good news. Where we structurally are competitive, we are still competitive. In terms of our ability to do business, we are up there at the top of the league. If you think about it, UK and Denmark really are the only European competitors to us who are performing better than us in terms of the ease of doing business. Even better news I'll give you, yes? This is the data for 2009, and yes, it will deteriorate going forward, but if we are to focus right now on the areas where we can instill improvement, the last two bars there on the right, and that is the trading across the borders and enforcing the contracts, it costs absolutely nothing to the government to enact policies which will drive our competitiveness up in those areas. Improving overall score, improving the climate for doing business in this country. It doesn't take any investment from the government. We just need to focus on why exactly the trading across the borders in Ireland is at the 23rd in the world, despite the fact that we are the part of the most open trade zone in the world itself. Why is it that enforcing the contracts is so difficult in Ireland as well? It's legislative changes rather than the changes on the investment side or the expenditure side. Even better news in terms of entrepreneurship infrastructure, as policy infrastructure goes, we are doing the best in Europe. Not only we're doing the best in Europe, we are the part of the only two countries in Europe that are in top 20 in the world.
To be enthusiastic. I think that enthusiasm is as good an attribute as we can bring to the party, so to speak, because I believe it's infectious. And I see it in the sporting context as well. Two people that jump out at me on that count is the late Cormac McAnallen and Brian Dooher. Great players, great athletes, people who made the best of the skills and talent they had. They weren't inverted commas, naturally the most gifted and talented athletes that ever hit the football field, but they reached the top level of their sport because of their application, because of their dedication, because of their enthusiasm. And the enthusiasm is infectious. And I've always said it over the years, and God rest Cormac, his presence at a training session made it a better training session. That's the impact somebody of that way of thinking can have on a group of people. People just watched him go and did things better. Same with Brian Dooher. When he's there at training sessions, which is most of the time when he's not injured, he makes things happen better. Just his sheer determination, his enthusiasm, his zest for what he's there for.